So I love how the book talked about um, fish don't try to swim, they swim. Birds don't try to fly, they fly. And he gave a lot of different examples. And we were meant to live our dreams, our lives. All of us are. And what he dug deeper into is that once, obviously, some of us don't really get there, some of us was trying to get there, but for you to get there easily and effortlessly, you have to understand the knowledge of who you are and how to tap into yourself. On the previous chapters, we talk about um, um, most of us operate from an ego state. And once we let that go and understand who you are as a true being, then your path to greatness or dreams or whatever it is you want to get to is effortless.
Thank you, Oliver. All right, so I don't see Mark here yet, so I'm just going to go with how I summarized it. For me, my summary was success is organic, not forced. So just to elaborate, what stood out to me in this chapter is that it basically goes against what society kind of tells us, that we have to go, right? Put your family second, work on chasing that paper, have a side hustle, right? Just burning yourself out on both ends of the candlestick. But what Deepak is offering here is he's saying, you're not going to be successful if you do it that way, right? If the more resistance that you have, then you're putting in too much effort, right? And anything that you want to come to you is not supposed to require a lot of effort. Anything that is supposed to come to you. If you have to be chasing and you're stressed and you can't sleep and burning candles at two ends of the stick same time, and you're not seeing your family and you're isolating yourself, and that's not the right direction you're on, right? According to Oliver, that's more of like you're external. You're chasing something that's outside of yourself. Ego. You're chasing your ego. You're chasing objects, as opposed to looking inwards, right? And understanding that things have to move organic. And I can relate to this because with regards to these organizations, since 2015, these organizations have been very organic. They have unfolded very, very organically for me, right? Things just came to me. When I started Caribbean Women's Society, doors started opening. Doors that I wasn't even knocking on started opening. The right people started gravitating. I didn't have to find those people. They found the organization. There was a pull, some sort of an attraction or a pull that was happening. It was amazing. To me, I'm totally floored by the way how these organizations have just flourished over time. Because my main concern, I worried when I started these organizations, is that I was going to have to compromise my family life to do this. And that was a big no-no for me. I was not willing to compromise not seeing my kids or my husband, etc., right? Like that was the fear that I had. And so anything that caused any sort of project or activity or any initiative that landed on my lap and it came across to me that was going to use up a lot of my effort, I declined on it. I passed up on it. And a lot of people think, oh my God, if I don't do this, if I don't take this opportunity right now and compromise things, then I'm never going to get the opportunity again, right? Or this is it. If I do this, then bam, I'm going to be successful. Like this is the answer to my problems, right? And I got really comfortable letting things go if it didn't come organic to me or natural. So this chapter really resonated with me. I'm going to go ahead.
This is the reason why, they say when you do something that you love, it doesn't feel like work. Because love doesn't mean you're excited about it. It's your passion. Once it's your passion, it doesn't feel like work. And then, I know the book talked about love. When you get into something that you love, to your point, Camille, then everything else, you can just kind of not worry about. And then things just start unfolding, doors opening, because you're attracting those things, just like the law of attraction, right?
And I can tell you many times people have judged me for passing up on certain things, or I was, I got a lot of judgment over the course of the 6 years with regards to these organizations. And even that, you have to learn how to let those things go. Like, your success doesn't depend on somebody else's approval. You don't have to do things the way other people expect you to do it, and things like that, right? Otherwise, you start putting in effort, too much effort. The minute you start doing that, you're already going backwards. So I'm going to now go to Mark's summary that he puts. This chapter describes the principle of harmony and love by referring to lessons from nature. Nature provides us with many examples of how things just happen naturally, with little to no effort. Flowers blooming, birds flying, earth spinning on its axis, etc. We need to accept things for what they are and understand how to do less and accomplish more. I'm going to say that last part again. Do less and accomplish more. By accepting the current universe for what it is will allow you to experience life flowing with effortless ease, and in turn manifest your dreams and desires. Mark, you care to elaborate, or was that sufficient?
I think it pretty much is sufficient, but I'll say one thing that adds on to conversation that you and Oliver were just having, which was, when you, there are a lot of professionals out there, or athletes, artists being, singers, musicians, and as well as just, people who draw, I've heard them refer to things as, when a situation occurs, everything just kind of slows down for them. And I know in sports, this is a big one where, a lot of the great players of different eras say that, when a ball is thrown to them, or like in baseball, a pitch is thrown to them, it's coming to them in slow motion, and that's how they're seeing it. Everything slows down. And I'm kind of relating that to this chapter as, they're sitting back and letting things happen, rather than trying to go out and push for, to be successful. So it's least effort. They're sitting back, they're letting things come to them, and then they execute based on, what's happening to them in the moment. So I don't know if that makes sense to the rest of the group, but to me, it kind of, as I was reading this chapter, that's part of what was going through my mind.
Yeah, I want to, by you saying that, referring to sports, kind of triggers my mind, because for those who don't know, I also coach basketball. And I used to coach soccer too, but not anymore. I stick to one sport. And in basketball, or in any sport really, the idea is always trying to instill in my athlete that let the game come to you. So sometimes we're playing and the objective is to score, right? But you can score in many different ways. You can win the game in many different ways. You can enjoy the game in many different ways. But if you force the issue, the game is gonna run away from you. So when you make the game come to you, and when they're younger, they're like, how do I do that? Enjoy it. So this is the reason why, Mark, I kind of said this last week, where, I don't focus too much on the score. I focus on the process and what they have to do within, because there's a game within the actual game. So the game is bigger than you. You have to play your part in that game. So this way, everything is just easier, and things comes to you slowly. the basket is more bigger. The ball is coming to you slower because you purposely slowing it down, and it's just a law of least effort in that sense.
So I'm going to go, thank you. I'm going to go on to the second question, and then I'm just going to open it up. I'll go to the readers first, and then if anybody else wants to make comments about the law of least effort. So the second question for the readers, Mark and Oliver, was what 2 lessons have you learned, explored, accepted, or adopted from this chapter? And Oliver said, least effort is expended when your actions are motivated by love. That's his first lesson. Number 2, economy of effort. Do less and achieve more. That is the economy of effort. Do you care to elaborate on your 2 lessons, Oliver?
Not really. I think it's self-explanatory. I can expand on economy of effort. That really hit home for me because for the last 4 years, my mentors have been instilling certain things in me in terms of, and I know you mentioned it just now, Camille, hustle, hard work, right? Why should you have to work hard? People say work smart. The whole idea is do less and achieve more, right? And it's not in the sense of ego or greedy sense, is that those tied together. My other statement now is when it comes to love, and I said this earlier, when you do something that you love, then you start doing things with least effort.
Thank you, Oliver. I'm going to read Mark's submission. His first lesson, number 1, was accept things for what they are in the moment and not for what you wish them to be. And number 2, the second component, discussing responsibility and not blaming others for my situation. Care to elaborate, Mark?
Yeah, I just think, accepting things for as they are and not what you want them to be. I found that to be a powerful statement just around, ensuring that, we have to take things that come to us, not necessarily blame yourself for what happens or why, but we are in that situation. So that is one of the things that we need to, sorry, you can hear my daughter in the background crying here, but just accepting the situation for what it is at this point in time. And the second one, I can't remember what that was, Camille.
Number 2 was responsibility and not blaming others for my situation.
Yeah, and I think they're just related, and both of them is just being responsible for actions and just accepting the situation and not necessarily, I think they're all of the laws of the least effort, which is just not having to defend your point of view, accept the situation, and be able to move forward. And I think one of the things that Deepak was mentioning was, it helps to reduce the amount of arguments or friction or things that situations that you have with others. So that's what I'm trying to practice and trying to ultimately become a better person, is just, practice on my wife and try to.
That's the best place to start.
Yeah. So just, taking responsibility for our own situation.
Sorry. Oh man, that was funny.
I'll let you guys know how that works out.
Can I expand on that? And that really, that defenselessness really hit me because I love how this book is very practical, and it gives you 3 tips to practice. And obviously, I would encourage for us here to actually practice these things. There's no sense reading it because we said we read it. It's actually practice and little bit. And it's interesting what the book says, 99.9% of people, if you notice, they're always trying to prove a point, always get the point across. For what reason? The reason always stems from some sort of ego.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Oliver, too. So sorry to interrupt you, but
I don't know, yeah.
all the chapters are related to each other, right? And talking about the ego is big, right? And if once we start to take less, we think less about what other people are thinking about us and trying to portray something, try to portray a persona that, you know, for the general public. I think then you start to become more comfortable with yourself and things start to come to you. So I apologize for jumping in there.
No. I was just trying to make your point, actually, because that part really stuck out to me. To where, you know what's so interesting, Mark and everyone else? Like I said, once you start practicing these things, man, not only you change and you see yourself change and you feel your change, but it's so revealing. Like then each day becomes so easy now, right? Especially when you have kids and spouse, because the reality is both might get on your nerves. That's the reality, right? And when you start practicing these things, you wake up one day and you realize, wow, I passed that stage, right? And it feels so good. And it's not for you anymore. No, you're impacting the people around you, right? So it's you know, that part really you know, resonated with me a lot.
Just to add to what Oliver was talking about, he said there's 3 practical steps to practice the law of least effort. The 3 are: 1, acceptance, meaning accept whatever comes your way. Whether you like it or not, accept whatever comes your way. Number 2, take responsibility for whatever comes your way. If you don't like it, do something about it. And number 3 is what Mark was saying, stop being defensive. All those things require, if you're doing the opposite of that, you're exerting a lot of effort that you shouldn't be, right? Let go of those 3 things, or be accepting, be responsible, and stop trying to defend your point of view, and you'll find that things are coming to you with more ease. I'll just add my 2 lessons from the chapter. Number 1 is reality is interpretation. That's one of the lines that he said in the book. Reality is an interpretation. Somebody else's reality does not have to be my reality. I can make that choice, like what Lynette and Beverly had displayed earlier in the call. Beverly said that when she goes to work, she has to wear a different hat. Then when she leaves work, she can be her Lucian self. But then we heard Lynette say something totally different. That when she goes to work, she doesn't take off the hat. She's Lucian all right, true, 24/7, right? So that's a perfect example of how you can choose your own reality. Nobody is stopping. We have the freedom to do that. Nobody is stopping us from doing that. So that really landed with me. And number 2, very succinctly, history, mystery, gift. Those were 3 lines he said in the book. History, mystery, gift. I'll explain. The past is the history. The future is a mystery. And the present is a gift. Hello?
You can't go deeper than that.
Hello?
Go deep.
History, mystery, gift.
Yep.
So when you're exerting all this energy and effort towards things that don't serve you, you're not in the present. And when you're not in the present, you're blocking your path to success and happiness. Oliver, you wanted to add?
Oh, for sure. So the present is all about accepting. You know, people, when I practice, so Mark, I used to practice this kind of stuff with people at work. And I don't know, for the last 5, 6 years or so, I'm never, never, never sad or uneasy at work. No matter what came my way, I'm always a happy person because I'm choosing. And something bad might happen to me and I accept it in the moment. So if I drug my shoulder and complain about it, I said to myself, what use is that gonna, what am I gonna get from that? Me doing that is not gonna change the outcome. So might as well I change it now. So it usually take me a second and accept that gift because there's a reason why this is happening to me, right? Instead of saying, why me? Why not me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Once you start change that, why not me? Then you brush it off and say, okay, there's a reason why. I don't need to figure it right now, but eventually it's going to reveal to me and just move on. Right? Yeah. So, yeah, I forget that part of the book, Camille, but yes, that part really hit me as well. There's so many different parts.
Thank you, Oliver. So those were the questions that the readers had to ponder and submit in advance. I'd like to invite the rest of you, if you want to comment, share insight or input on what we were just talking about.
I see the gift as being aware too, because you have to have that awareness so that you know who you are and you know what, so you can be present. Being present is so easy to say, but to me, one almost has to practice to be present because we are so distracted by so many things all around us. That being present is almost like shutting everything out and focusing. It's an art. It requires just thinking because so many of us try to get our word in and we are busy thinking of what we're going to say and we're not even listening to what's being said. We're formulating what we want to say, we're formulating our little plan, and we miss what is actually happening in front of us. So that being present is so important. And I think Deepak Chopra spends a lot of time talking about that, but I have to practice being present because listening is such an art. And a lot of us, and they say we have two ears and one mouth, but a lot of us, I definitely stand, I'm guilty. We talk and we don't stop to listen and we lose so much of what's being said. So that presence is not there.
I like it. Thank you, Lynette.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
just, yeah, go ahead, Ingrid, please.
No, I was gonna say, I finally got the opportunity to read this chapter and I read it. And the first thing I did is I called Joe and I says, oh my God, Joe, I just read this. And this is so you, because Joe is that, Oliver mentioned your spouse. He is that person. He does certain things it's not about that ego. He's doing it because it's the thing to do. And he's not worried about what other people think and so I was telling him that. But, the other thing I took from this is he talked about taking every challenge and making it an opportunity, looking at it to learn from that. And it brought me back to the conversation we had last week about the bullying, because I think, Camille, you asked the question, do you think the person that was bullied, did he or she learn anything or whatever? And at the time, my thought process was, of course not. It's the bully is the one. But, when I listened to or read what he said everything teaches you something, right? So even though that person was bullied, he or she would have learned maybe a way to be defensive, maybe a way to, explore certain things, whatever would have come of that. So it really was quite enlightening. So now I have to read chapter 5, but it was great.
Yeah, and I kind of want to read a couple of things to you guys, and some of us have already read it, but just one area where you were just talking about, Ingrid, where he was talking about when you struggle against this moment, you're actually struggling against the entire universe. Instead, you can make the decision that today I will not struggle against the world universe by struggling against this moment. this means that your acceptance of this moment is total and complete. You accept things as they are and not as you wish they were in this moment. This is important to understand. You can wish for things in the future to be different, but in this moment, you have to accept things as they are. So I find that really, really important. And then the next piece to that, which was what I was mentioning as a part of my lesson, is just when you feel frustrated or upset by a person or a situation, remember that you're not reacting to the person or the situation, but to your feelings about the person or the situation. These are your feelings, and your feelings are not someone else's fault. When you recognize and completely understand this, you're ready to take responsibility for how you feel and to change it. And you can accept things as they are. And if you can accept things as they are, you're ready to take responsibility for your situation and for all the events as you see as problems. That, to me, it's very, very strong words, right? And I find that it's making me think a lot more just about everything that happens, and not looking at others and saying, okay, it's their fault. I mean, the situation you're in, you have to realize that you're feeling upset, not the person that you're kind of directing your anger toward.
So on that note, every time I get a chance to interact with like successful people, like I get a lot of chance to see them when I used to work at a hotel in the conventional level when we have 600, 1,600 people, and you have the speaker coming in. You know, I'm one of the person that they kind of talk to. I set up the room for them and make sure they have the guests have everything else. So I always get a chance, because they come in early, I always get a chance to chat with them. And I always ask them, you know, I always ask them, what do you do when you really, really get upset? Because I usually get upset. I got kids and I got a spouse, right? And it was always bothering me. And it will bother me for, oh yes, Lynette, it will bother me for more than a day, sometimes 2-3 days, right? And he said, the worst thing can ever happen to him, it'll take him a couple seconds to get over it. And he said the reason for that is the energy on all of them, pretty much, like I'm talking about at least 10 different people. I asked them the same question. They pretty much say the same thing. They give me tips and stuff to do it. But they said the energy that you are putting out based on your emotions or what you're feeling, how are you going to put energy to what you need to do? For me, and he's saying for himself, I can't show up for 16,000 people if something bothered me 2 minutes ago. These people will see that in me. It will show in my presentation. So I have to be able to have a way, no matter what happened to me before I get on stage, in a split second, I have to find a way to get rid of that, right? So so to your point, Mark, and what Ingrid was just saying, it's so important that we practice these things. And obviously, he said it's not easy, but the more you practice it, the more you build that neural pathways towards, you know, where you want to go.
Yeah.
Becomes
it's
easier.
about, sorry, what somebody said a while ago, changing your story. We have to change our story. We have to literally change the way we think. It requires a mindset. The mindset has to change, and we have to be hungry enough to want to do it. And that's why I guess you have 1% successful and the rest of the people just going to go along and take the land of the least resistance, the lotus eaters. You just go about, and you know what? You know, I'll never forget when I went back to St. Lucia for a little while, and I needed to have my lawn cut. So I hired this local guy, and he did he cut the grass. And I told him exactly what I wanted him to do. And he cut it, but he didn't do what I asked him to do. And I said to him, but that's not what I asked you to do. So he said, Miss, it's good so. So I said, no, it's not good so. This, I asked you, I'm paying you for a start. I'm paying you. I asked you to do it a certain way. You need to do it the way I asked you to do it. This is what I want. It's not how you think it's good. This is how I'd like it done. I explained to him again. I told him, and he did it. The next time it was perfect. The next time it was even better. It's just about the conversation and changing the mediocre way that we are used to doing things. A lot of us deal with mediocrity, and that's what we do. I don't know if you want to say as Caribbean people, that's what we do. It may not be a fair statement, but maybe as human beings, that's what we do. And we have to get out of that mediocre mindset and start to thrive for excellence by having this kind of conversation, by reading people like Deepak Chopra, because these are the people who have aspired, who have learned, who have studied, and we've got to stand on those shoulders of those giants if we want to get where we want to go. So thank you. This is amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
So Lynette, you say you have to be hungry for it. Would you say hungry is the same as, something just clicked to me, same as love?
Hunger is a want. We have to want it. We have to really want whatever it is. You have to be, I think you have to have a certain level of maybe passion too. Hunger is just wanting something. You want something, so you're going to put yourself, you're going to go out of your way. What's the term I wanted to use? You're going to actually go over and above what you normally do to get where you want to go. So I hate the cold. I hate the cold weather, but I wanted to serve a marginalized community. I couldn't do it in St. Lucia or out of Canada. I needed to be in Canada. I went to the north. I went to Nunavut in the Northwest Territories. I hate the cold, but I so love what I do, and I get so much feedback and so much really support from the community and so on. The cold doesn't matter. So it's just going to that extra level to achieve what you want, and then you don't even see the little pitfalls in between, because it really the big picture, that doesn't matter. People say, how do you do it? I said, well, how do you do what you do? You probably like what you do. This is what I like, and this is where I want to be at this point in time. That's where the journey took me. So it's a sacrifice and everything else, but it's a mindset change, literally a mindset change.
100% agree. Carol has a comment.
No, it's not so much of a yeah, maybe it's a comment. I was just saying, you guys are looking for words of want, hunger. I would say desire.
Desire, yeah.
Word that we use there is desire.
Semantics, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm all about using positive words.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm finding though with Deepak is, this reading that I haven't read anywhere else is when he's talking about this, you have to do it with purest of intentions. So the things that we are doing, if you say thank you to somebody, you truly should mean thank you, right? You want to bless somebody, have that pure intention and not, I don't know, a negative or
like a hidden agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
Behind what you're trying to do, or trying to do something just because you're looking for them to do something for you, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely, we need to be, I'm losing words today and finding a loss for words, but definitely we should be pure in our intentions as we are dealing with others and ourselves.
Mark, again, I would say use it with love.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Put love in the intention.
Right.
Yep.
Because love is the answer to everything.
Love is the intention behind these organizations, just so you know. Just so you know.
You can feel it.
When I started, it was pure love. I care about my people. I care about my culture. I want to honor my parents, my grandparents. I care about my children's future. It's coming from a place of love. And a lot of what Deepak is talking about is being echoed already in these organizations. So Oliver talked about the 3 practical steps. The steps being acceptance, responsibility, and choosing not to be defensive. in our spaces, we accept what has happened to our community. We accept where we are, right? So yes, we've had a terrible, confusing, horrific past, but we don't use that to block our success. We accept the good and the bad, and the next one is we take responsibility for it. Right? So yes, there are gaps in our community. I'm trying to relate it here to the movement, right? There are gaps in our community that have been gaping since forever. And now we're taking responsibility to close those gaps rather than just being complacent, like what Lynette was saying, or mediocre, or keeping our head down and not paying attention. And then number 3 is not being defensive either. With our spaces at the beginning of every meeting, we say we don't allow debates. That's for a specific reason. We don't allow debate. Discussion, yes. Not debates. Because all of that just creates resistance. Anyone else? I haven't heard from Mr. David in a while. And then when he comes in, he just drops mind-blowing information on everybody. Not to put you on the spot, David, but I'm just saying, you're welcome to share before we wrap up.
He's probably waiting for his bowl of rice to ready.
Yeah, I do plan on having some rice. I made a good fried rice thing.
Hey.
Vegetables and ground beef, and I had like 3 small plates.
Wow.
But I didn't have a full plate yet.
You're going good. You're doing good.
I'm blessed, like Oliver said, I'm blessed to have a bowl of rice, right?
Exactly.
Not everyone out of the 8 billion people have a bowl of rice. So
exactly
what it's all about. Because I'm listening though. I'm watching the Raptors, the Leafs. I've been watching a lot of racism, and I know we steer clear of labeling, and that's a word to you can divvy that up so many ways. But right now, what's on OLN? Which channel was it? Anyway, it's to stay in the present and check yourself. Is it you that's meeting the quota at work? Is it you that's liked among your schoolmates? Is it you, or is it the color of your skin? Is it the way you laugh? You cause trouble at the back of the class? Like, who are you? And what do you represent at your company? You're trying to be executive director, but what is it? What are the roadblocks, right? Because you do work for everything you have. You even though the love and like, I like the way Mark said about the sports analogy with the slow motion of the ball. Like, they work to get there though, to get that ball to go slow. Like, they see a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's like, to them it's the size of a beach ball, and it's going slow, and they get 50 home runs when 100 other players can't even get 10 home runs, right? So they're getting they're batting 500, and everything's in slow motion to them. But how did they get there, right? So in the present, yeah, it's slow motion. But you can't hurdle. I don't think you can hurdle systemic systems that block your progress in the universe, right? Just like we use the seed analogy with Chopra. We're all like stardust beings, and we're like a whole universe looking to say, why am I here, right? Our presence is enough, right? Not what you do in the present, but our presence is enough, right? So if our presence is enough, I don't know why we get annoyed if someone doesn't like us, or if someone is not giving us what we think we deserve. So everything is relative, I guess. It's relative to say, oh, well, if I wasn't in North America, I would be treated properly in Angola or Nigeria. So I better go back where I came from. Is that the mentality that they want us to have? Like, it's just incredible. Like, I don't think as a Caribbean person living in Toronto, Canada, you can go without deciphering it. Even though you're in the present and you have all these beautiful thoughts that you guys just mentioned, I had to bring up systemic racism that's going on, because it's a definite stop of our people. So yeah, it's in fashion now to talk about it, and even, you know, the 500 trillion that they want to pay back the American people, like there's a whole thing. But to decipher it and talk about it and obey the actual commandments, they're real good commandments that say, don't worry about that, stay in the present. You know, give out the vibes that will come back to you. The you know, what goes around comes around. What do you call that word that we did last week?
Karma,
The karma.
the law of karma.
The karma that comes back to you when you're positive gets stronger when those systemic negatives are strong, because it doesn't kill you. It doesn't kill you, right? So it's got to make you stronger.
It's,
And maybe like the flu, you get kind of immune to it after a while. You've experienced it, hopefully. Like, I think flus are getting worse, aren't they? Something to be scared about. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
I'm glad you brought up that point.
Which one?
When it comes to the systematic, and there's so many different systems, right?
Yeah.
You could be the promotion system, the race system. There's so many different systems, and there's something that I want us to really understand based on the topic that we're talking about here, is that the reason why the system tend to go against you is because you, first of all, you not practice the 3-step, the accepting. I'm not saying accept. So we have to understand that we can't do nothing that we can't. What's the saying? You can't worry about what you can't change, right? So if there's a system going on, right, and the reason why I can speak very loudly to this, because I've been in Canada for many years, and I've been part of many systems. And the reason why I'm saying this, and I don't like to really talk about it, is just to really have a conversation around it. And when I have conversation with people, they don't think I've experienced many things. Why?
Mhm.
Because of my mindset was changing at the time. I wasn't never like this. Before, a lot of things used to bother me. I used to go out there and roll up the fence